everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What's Happening SBC. I'm your host, Deborah Robertson. It's been just over a year since we've been in pandemic mode. These changes have been a burden for many of us, but there are some who find it hard to cope. According to druguseStatistics.org, over 23 million people in America struggle with at least one type of addiction. Addiction can harm a person's normal activities and damage their relationships with friends and loved ones. However, there are several treatment options that are proven to be helpful with addiction, but very few people actually get treatment. This leaves a lot of people trying to live with a substance addiction. Today, our guest is David Bingham, or Bing as he is known. He will share with us some information on recovery and the ways in which you can get help if this is something that you seek. Bing is the lay pastor for recovery at St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Shreveport. Welcome to the show, Bing.
Thank you.
Tell us, what exactly is a lay pastor for recovery?
Well, that is a title that is made up for a made-up job. The position is the church to which I belong and I'm a part of, St. Luke's United Methodist, has had a long history in its relationship with the recovery community. And it was decided about 5 years ago to make recovery a prominent focus of ministry from the church. It developed over a period of time, and I was invited to come and be the director of that recovery program, that ministry. And so my job is to organize and to facilitate the various opportunities that we provide through St. Luke's for the recovery community in the Shreveport-Bossier area.
That's good. How long have you been in this position at St. Luke's?
I came in December of 2017 to take this position. The recovery ministry at St. Luke's was something that was envisioned and dreamt about, and the church put forth the resources. I was the first person to come and actually begin this work with a part-time staff position. Okay.
Give us a little bit about your background and what drew you to your work in recovery.
Well, my background is in the church. I have a lot of training in that regard. And I was living in Memphis, and this was 2013. And I was a member of a church there in Memphis that had a very active, strong recovery ministry, St. John's United Methodist Church. I became involved in that work as a volunteer, a layperson in the church, and worked in it for several years and got very committed to the miracles of recovery. It really was a remarkable ministry that was happening there. And that was my full engagement in it as much as I possibly could. But as I say, I was working and living, and so I was only doing that as volunteer work. So that really is where my commitment to recovery work began.
Okay. What are some of the recovery ministries that are offered at St. Luke's?
Well, St. Luke's has a number of things that are opportunities. The first thing that we do, and perhaps in some respects the easiest, is we offer virtually, unlimited. It's wide open hospitality to the recovery community, primarily for a place and an opportunity for people to have meetings. There are any number of 12-step recovery programs that meet on a regular basis, and they need locations where they can meet. So part of what St. Luke's offers is that opportunity. And anybody who is familiar with or in touch with the various recovery programs would perhaps be aware of those meetings. The other things that we have, in addition to formal recovery meetings, we also have meetings that are in support of people who are suffering from mental health issues. We have support group for depression and bipolar disorder. We also have an evening service on Friday nights that is our own thing. It's called Lowkey.
Okay.
And Lowkey is a gathering around music primarily that celebrates the life of recovery. And we meet once a week. We have some of the best music in the city, and it really is a celebration of recovery.
Okay. Now, Lowkey, I want to return to that. You mentioned that it's just a time where people can kind of get together. How did Lowkey come about?
Well, the interesting thing is that Lowkey began because of the ministry that was happening in Memphis at St. John's Church. There was an event called The Way, and it met on Friday evenings, and it had some of the best musicians in the city of Memphis. And the music was the common ground, and it was, as I say, a celebration of recovery. The pastor of St. Luke's came to Memphis and had an opportunity to participate and share in that experience. When she returned, she was committed to trying to replicate that in Shreveport. So in 2016, Lowkey began, but it met on a once-a-month basis. And there were local musicians that participated and a lot of support from the congregation. Then, when I was invited to come and take the position as lay pastor for recovery, we really moved hard to move Lowkey from a once-a-month to an every-week event. And so since early March of 2017, we have been meeting every Friday night at 6 o'clock for an hour of what our pastor calls the happiest hour in Shreveport.
I like that. I know that during the height of the pandemic, there were no meetings. Is Lowkey back to meeting at St. Luke's every Friday night at 6 p.m.?
Yes, it is. Lowkey took a hit because of the COVID pandemic. We tried originally to live stream without the crowd gathered. We have a remarkable technician at the church, Greg Gregory, who was able to facilitate that. We were also live streaming worship services. So we did that for Lowkey for a while. But the fact is that Lowkey doesn't happen if there's not the synergy and the spirit of the people that are gathered together. Because it really is a celebration that feeds off of each other. So after a period of time where we simply had to wait, and we had to wait along with everybody else. As the restrictions were beginning to be lifted, we then restarted Lowkey. We've now been back for 6 weeks.
Awesome.
And we're full swing.
Now, besides getting these great musicians, what else happens at Lowkey? And also, do you offer childcare?
Well, thanks for the setup. The fact is that the main thing that happens at Lowkey, as I say, is a celebration of recovery. Most people who are in recovery recognize the fact of their recovery as a miraculous gift. And it's something that it's, if you will, it's a conspiracy of the universe to save our lives. And so there's a celebration of that. But recovery work's hard work. It's something you do every day and something you work at every day. So what we do at Lowkey is we provide an hour that's no agenda. All you have to do is show up with a spirit of gratitude and a spirit of celebration. That's it. The music has its part in facilitating that spirit, but we also concentrate on recovery and the 12 steps of many recovery programs. We have someone who speaks their experience on one of the steps every week. So every week there'll be a focus on a particular step in a 12-step recovery program. And then in addition to that, we've got snacks and beverages. We try to encourage time before and after, particularly now that some of the pandemic restrictions have been lifted, for people to be with each other and to celebrate this shared life and this shared journey. We do have childcare, which is one of the best things that we have done in order to enable single parents particularly to come and share in Lowkey, because it is virtually impossible to put anything before the care and well-being of your children.
That's true.
So I am thrilled that together with the congregation at St. Luke's, we've been able to provide child care to further support and encourage participation at Lowkey.
Now, Lowkey sounds like a great opportunity. I want to know, is it open to anyone or just those in recovery?
Well, here's the thing. Lowkey is open to people in recovery, but we think everybody's in recovery from something, which means it's open to everybody.
Okay.
The reality of it is that people are in recovery. Definitely, some of us are in recovery from alcoholism or drug addiction. Some of us are in recovery from mental health disorders. Some of us are in recovery from traumas in our life. Some of us are in recovery from the grief and the loss of a loved one. Recovery doesn't have to be something that for everyone is an all-time rest of my life thing. But recovery is something that I think is a part of everyone's life. So what we try to do at Lowkey is recognize that. And the things that we find, those of us that might be in a structured program of recovery, the things that are good for us are good for anybody.
Right.
So we want to share that, and we want to encourage it, and anybody that is in that place can share that experience by being at Lowkey.
Where can the audience get more information on Lowkey? Do you have a list of the bands that will play in the coming weeks?
Well, the information about Lowkey is best found if you go to the church's website or the Facebook page. The website is stlukesumc.community.
Okay.
That is the website. And then it's St. Luke Shreveport is the Facebook page.
Okay.
There is a recovery page on those sites where there's information about Lowkey.
Okay.
Now, what we tend to do typically is we make our selections and announce the information about the musicians and the step work the week before that Friday. So it's during that prior week. So we don't list the bands ahead of time. But I can assure you, we've had some of the best musicians in and around Shreveport. People like Buddy Flett, Joe Nato, Chris McKay, Jimmy Wooten. There are a multitude of people. And we've got a core band, Jason Cofield, Sean Stroop, Danielle Dyer, who are really kind of the backbone.
Okay.
These are professional musicians. These are folks that do a wonderful job. And rightly so, because that's the key and the core of the Lowkey celebration.
Okay. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
I like to give people memories. I like to give them something that they can look back on and it sparks some memory that makes them really happy or sad. I'm the instructor here at BPCC. I teach photography, and that includes fine art photography, wedding and event photography, portrait. I also teach Photoshop.
Photography can develop new skill sets and create opportunities.
After retiring in 2012 from the United States Air Force, I decided to find another passion, and that was with photography.
Not every photo shoot has the same needs. That's why BPCC provides instruction in a variety of courses, including portrait, event photography, and fine art photography.
As a student, you can learn all aspects of photography: operating the camera, how to pose your model, developing the right light for a shot, and how to use software such as Adobe Photoshop to polish your work.
It's so neat to be with the students through the process from day one when they're first learning how to turn on their camera, and then when they leave and they feel confident as they get jobs and see their work appear in galleries and on billboards. We want our students to have access to great opportunities, and we're the first college in the state to have a Phase 1 camera. Most importantly, we want them to get their degree and make a living.
Do a little uplifting song for you. Day after day, I'm more confused. Searching for the light in the pouring rain. You know that's a game that I hate to lose. Feeling the same. Getting a shake. Saying, give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away.
So, the one thing I want to offer as a blessing when you leave tonight, you know, that spirit that was in us, that's in us, that we give to God in prayer, and that, you know, which has a universal reach. It can go anywhere God wants it to go. But the fact is that when we are with people in the world, we give or withhold our spirit.
Welcome back. Our guest today is David Bingham, or Bing as he is known. Bing, we've talked extensively about Lowkey. What other recovery ministries are offered at St. Luke's United Methodist Church?
Well, as I mentioned before, we are a place that hosts a multitude of meetings. Mm-hmm. When, you know, back before the COVID pandemic, we had 3 or 4 meetings that were meeting at St. Luke's, a couple of which had been at St. Luke's for 20 years and over 30 years. When the pandemic came, there are lots of places that closed down, and they simply were not having any gatherings, even after restrictions began to ease. Mm-hmm. But as those restrictions let up, the ministry at St. Luke's decided to open our doors to other groups that wanted to meet. We currently have close to 20 different meetings on campus at St. Luke's every week. And that includes groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, Al-Anon. I also said we have the Depression Bipolar Support Group. These are the variety of offerings that we provide for the broad reach of our recovery ministry. And an interesting thing that has happened, and this has just been a wonderful gift, through Lowkey, there are a group of women who are in recovery program at CADA. And they're at the CADA Family Hall, which is for mothers who are either pregnant or with young children. One of the most difficult things for a woman who's in recovery with children is being able to prioritize that time in recovery meetings when you've got your children to care for 24/7. So we have, as I said earlier, provided Lowkey with child care so that those women can come and share in Lowkey. But the church has also provided child care for a Wednesday evening Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, so that any parent that has children that need child care can attend that meeting and not be concerned, because the child care at St. Luke's is certified, safe sanctuary, and is a very solid gift. Through that relationship, there is a ministry that has grown up within the congregation that is led entirely by lay people in the church, called WIRC, W-I-R-C, which means Women in Recovery And the work team works specifically with the mothers that are at Family Hall, as well as any other women who are in recovery who have small children.
Now, you mentioned CADA. What exactly does CADA stand for? I mean, what is that ministry?
CADA is a nonprofit here in Shreveport, Bossier City area. It's the Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. And it was started in 1958.
Wow.
It has over 60 years of service in the Shreveport-Bossier area. They have a remarkably extensive program. They provide treatment. It can be inpatient treatment for adults or for adolescents, and also for women with children. You can also do, there is for adults an intensive inpatient treatment. There's also a low intensity inpatient treatment. You can also receive outpatient treatment through CADA. And one of the biggest things that they are really good at is education. Anybody that wants to know about alcoholism and drug addiction can contact CADA, and they will provide enormous wealth of resources.
Now, with CADA, is there a need to have a referral to go there, or just can anyone that is struggling, contact them?
Absolutely, anyone, anytime.
Okay.
You can go to the website. If somebody went to CADA.org, that would provide information. You can actually apply for treatment online.
Okay.
It has a phone number. You can call that phone number. Whatever your need is, CADA will work at providing you a connection for what it is that you need. So that's really one of the strengths of CADA.
Okay. Now, I know I've seen billboards around town, and I've also checked out CADA's website. There's a number you can call. It's 318-222-8511.
Good.
And they'll assist you with getting the help that you need. I have a personal question, Bing.
Okay.
Are you a person in recovery?
I am. I have been in and around the recovery community since 2013. And it has been a life changer for me. As I said, I am committed to the miracles of this life and this work. And I'm a man who has experienced that. So it's not a long stretch for me to be committed to this work.
Now, how would I know if I or someone I know needs help? Are there signs or symptoms that we can look for?
Sure. There are definitely signs and symptoms. The fact about alcoholism and drug addiction is the first thing to indicate that you are in fact addicted is its behavior. It's the fact that there's a desire to stop or an attempt to stop, but fail over and over. The lack of control over the use. That is a key symptom.
Okay.
Now, one of the issues with alcoholism and drug addiction is the physical addiction, the physical craving. Not everybody that drinks has that craving. But for the alcoholic, there is a physical condition that really does compel them to drink. But it's not just the physical. There's also a mental aspect of it. And the mental aspect of it is the obsession and the inability to stop or to control. The fact is that alcoholism and addiction are recognized as a disease. Just like my type 1 diabetes is a disease, my alcoholism is a disease. And it's a disease that I have to treat. The the important, critical thing is we have to ask for that help.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm afraid to reach out to the groups that you mentioned, or I don't feel comfortable talking to strangers, how can a person reach out to you since they see a familiar face and probably, identify with you?
Well, I'd be thrilled for anyone who had any interest or question to contact me. There are a couple of ways that can be done. I have an email address that is at my work, and that email address is recovery at stluke'sumc.community.
Okay.
That is a way to reach me by email. Another way, if you perhaps aren't online, you can call the church, and that telephone number is 318-868-3613. And that number, if there's not someone there to answer the phone, will take a message, and I will be contacted about any questions or interests having to do with recovery in any regard.
Thanks so much, Bing, for being here and sharing about how one can start on the road to recovery from addiction. Any last words?
I guess the only thing that I would say is to anybody that has an interest or a need for recovery, it is that if you want to stop and you can't, and if you know that your life would be better if you didn't use or drink, then ask for help, because help is available.
Thank you, Bing, and we'll see you next time on What's Happening SBC.